Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Masses32210. Today we are going to be rebuilding the front end of a KT196 Coleman go-kart. There she goes. This thing's approximately 2 years old. Actually in December of this year, which is only several more months away, this thing will be 2 years old. It's not a bad kart, but my daughters have literally beat the piss out of this thing. I've got one that drives like Danica Kilpatrick, and the other one is like Evel Knievel's passenger, and they've completely degraded the front end, and it's not their fault because from research that I've done, the major issue with these Coleman go-karts is these ball joints. They're actually kind of inferior. They're made real cheap, and the problem is, as you see, what happens is they use an undersized ball joint in the control arm, and what that does is it basically wallers out the spindle and completely breaks it. So I went ahead and after doing some research, I found a vendor that I'm working on a partnership with. They have not only the replacement parts, they actually got the heavy duty ones. And the vendor I'm talking about is BMI Karts. Kind of see my shirt. They're not 100% sponsored, but we're working on a collaboration between the two, because I kind of was talking with one of the office people, sales reps, etc. I was explaining to them that after looking at their website in depth, that I would like to do a collaboration because they do have such a range of parts, accessories, different things. Unlike some of the other vendors that I've seen that are heavily pushed through YouTube, I kind of told them, hey, let's see if we can work a collaboration out of it. They sent me this cool shirt because I told them, hey, I would definitely like to, if you don't sponsor me at this point, I'm going to sponsor you. So why don't you go in the description, there's going to be a link to their homepage, or website, should I say. And let's go ahead and I'll crack into this box. Also, which I'm actually grateful that they sent me more than the t-shirt, is their catalog. Even though I love the internet to find so much product, I love the fact of having an actual catalog where I can view stuff, read on it. It's a little bit more informative to me than just looking on a website. But what I really loved, we even got some cool stickers that were thrown in here. But this is really what I wanted to show off. Now, if you have one of these Colemans and you're wanting to rebuild that front end, sorry guys about all this wind. I'm also doing this one-handed, so these are the newer spindles. They've been redone. They're a lot more heavy duty, and this is the main thing right here. This shaft right here is going to be bigger. The ball in the center is a lot bigger, so thus this threaded shaft is going to be, it's all completely larger, more beefy setup. And I don't have to do any welding, cutting, grinding for a couple of dollars. I believe these were around $50 a piece. You can order left, right, or I picked the option of both. So if I'm going to replace one, I'm going to replace them both. The only thing is, which as we do this, we're going to find out. If you notice, there is going to be a size difference between this threaded part of the ball joint and the stocks, so you will have to drill out the top and bottom A-arms. But let me go ahead and set you up on the tripod, and what we're going to do is go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and disassemble and fix the worst side. I've got a couple other things we're going to do to this kart in this video, so we'll just go ahead and start right here. Alright guys, right now, to make this thing easier to work on, if you're going to be following this step by step, put the cart in front of your cart on jack stands, plastic ramps, or I used actually just nothing more than a milk crate. All we're going to do is start off by removing the front dust cover, and I'm actually trying to use some basic tools. And what we're going to do is go in here and we're going to pry up the cotter pin, or carter key, everybody calls it something different. We're just going to go ahead and pry this up. I need to adjust my vice grips. But what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and remove this cotter pin, go ahead and pull this nut off, And matter of fact, since I got y'all in here, I believe this is going to be a 17, if I'm right. It should be a 17 or 18 millimeter. We're going to pull this off. You pull off the little washer, and then the whole wheel will come right off. So now that we have the wheel taken off, and what we have is, we have the upper ball joint, which is going to be a 12 millimeter, and we have the, Lord, I can't believe I just forgot the name of that. But it's, tie rod, I'm sorry. We got the tie rod to remove, and we have this. Now, as you're going to start loosening this, you're going to notice it's going to start spinning. So what you're going to do is have to get, let me make sure I can do it on this one. You're going to have to kind of get this at an odd angle and slip a wrench in here to grab the bottom. And you'll be able, once you got the wrench in there, you'll have to hold it. There's usually like 2 flat sides where you can slip the wrench on it, and you'll take this one off. And this one's here is going to be the same way. Now, I'm not going to hold you on video. This is very something simple, quick. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and pull this top ball joint loose, the tie rod loose, and the bottom, and get all that out the way. And then I can clean up all the sand. It's been sitting out here for a couple of months waiting on these parts. Or at least waiting on for me to order them. So I'll go ahead and remove all that, and I'll get right back with y'all as soon as I have the upper and lower control arms showing, and we'll go ahead and start assembly of the newest one. Well, alright, here we go. This is, as you can see, went ahead, removed everything. I got to definitely pressure wash this down. The kids have gotten it through sand and everything else. And here is the stock spindle. Let me grab the other one. And for comparison, here is the heavy duty one. You can notice that the center tube is larger on the aftermarket one, or heavy duty. Try to get them in. Let me see if I can get them both. You can kind of see the sizes of ball joints and the nuts that they use. Like this. Matter of fact, this is what I was going to show. Here is the very bottom of it. You can see the snap ring is still in there. And here's the ball. Now, the new ones they put in there, the balls on them are almost twice the size. I can push this back in, but it's not going to stay. It just rips right back out. I mean, there's not much I can say. I mean, my girls have literally destroyed this thing. Now, the biggest issue is we got to go in and I got to go in and drill out the both control arms. Let me grab my bit set and determine what size that we do need, so I can go ahead and drill both these out, and we'll start reassembly. I just did it off camera. Hopefully I did this one right. It went from about a 5/16 hole that was stock, and we're at 25/64. So just taking the nut off the bottom ball joint, put it away so I don't lose it. I wish I was in the shop right now so I could have my air compressor to blow all this stuff off, but I'm kind of working outdoors. Trying to keep, yep. So there we go. Make sure you've seen that. Walked it in. There we go. Line this up. Give it a gentle little tap. And we'll come back in, and that's really about it. So we'll just reassembly on these is just basically going to be the same as is the reverse order of this assembly. Put the top nut, the bottom nut, and I'll come back in and install the one on the tie rod. So once I go ahead and tighten these 3 nuts up, I'll get them nice and secure. Then we'll go ahead and put this wheel back on, and we'll have this one, this side knocked out. Like I said, literally this is very simple to replace. This is not nothing that's very hard. Now the tricky part is to get your wrench, to get a wrench in here to hold the ball joint in place while you're, oh, forgot, since this has got bigger, I need to get a different wrench. And this is a 15 millimeter. So what I'll do is I'll come in from the back side. I'm going to do this off camera. I'll hold the ball joint steady with one wrench. I'll tighten this one down, and we'll go ahead and do this the same way. I'll slip a wrench in here to hold the ball joint while I'm tightening the bottom nut, and same as well for the tie rod. Get all three of these mounted. We'll go from there, reassemble the wheel, and we'll knock this side out. We'll move on to the other. I didn't show the last, but what I do normally with something like this was a brand new spindle. I put a little bit of grease on the spindle, even though it doesn't need it. Went ahead and slid the tire rim with the sealed bearings on there. There's a flat washer. You have, I guess that's like a little dust cover. Then last, you're going to go ahead and put on the castle nut, torque that down, run your cotter pin through, and the side itself will be done. And all the specs, I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe BMI Karts has something on there, or like I do, a lot of times I don't need the dead torque specs. What I'll do is just use my best judgment, and that usually does it right there. You just want to, I like to cinch everything tight and make sure it's not going to move. Put cotter pins back where they belong, and basically, besides tightening this castle nut and putting the cotter key back, this side's done. The cart's actually ready to ride. But I'm going to go ahead and do the other side real quick. Yeah, you know what? We might just do it on camera. Like I said, this goes pretty quick. I don't know, it takes you about 15 minutes roughly per side. It knocks out, and like I said, now they got the tightness of heavy-duty ball joints in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this side out. We'll knock the other one out. Then we're going to go ahead and give them some brakes, and I'll explain that in a minute on the video. I figured I want to show you this, but y'all got to really excuse the wind noise. My apologies. If you notice, I went ahead and just took this one off. I didn't think that going back through the same procedure, because it's literally the same on this side. As soon as I got the washer loose off the top control arm, I went and lifted it up. Next thing I know, ball joint falls right inside. That's what I'm saying about the differences between the heavy duty setup and this. Basically everything looks the same, except like I said, you can see here, you can notice the diameter of this tube. This one's a lot greater than this one, so this is going to hold a larger ball in here, a lot stiffer. Of course, being new, where the ball's going to ride in here is not going to be as wore out as my my little stunt kids over there, the ones that drive this one. But like I said, the KT 190 from Coleman, now I'm not sure exactly who actually makes it. Coleman's just the brand name. These spindles are very inferior. Like I said, I didn't have a chance to barely pull the washer off. Next thing I know, the whole ball joint drops into the spindle. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish. I've got to go ahead and undo the lower nut and take the washer out. And once this is undone, I'll go ahead and put this back, and we're gonna continue on trying to refresh this cart. All right, as I indicated, what did I say? This was 25/64 bit. We're gonna go ahead. Oh. Now, if I could have got my cart up higher, it'd be better to go from the bottom. To prevent the bit from doing that. There we go. Went ahead and drilled the bottom real quick, which obviously the bottom ball joint wasn't put on properly because it's kind of oblong. There we go. Now what I could do in the future, say if the other ball joints never messed up, but this bottom control arm got real wobbly, like I said, from the hole becoming oblonged, I could always come back in here, from the bottom and maybe weld a washer, and that should fix that. But all right, so basically just like before, we went ahead and we removed the originals, and I've also realized that I have actually plenty of room if I want to adjust the spring and give them a tighter suspension. Also lift the nose up just a hair. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I drill this so the bolt's going to be tight in here. I believe I gave it a tap, but I want to make sure I keep everything nice and tight, just like that. Nut, bolt it, tie rod, and wheel, and like I said, they'll be back up and running. But of course, like I said, we're going to go ahead in here and change the master cylinder out so they'll have some brakes. Well, we got the new heavy duty spindles and ball joints on. Now I'm going to tackle something that I didn't realize till not long ago, and my kids surely didn't tell me. They've actually not had brakes for a very long time. I was sitting here, you could tell this thing is froze up, and when it wasn't froze up, wasn't super long ago, had no pressure. So I went on the good old internet. This is before I discovered BMI's site, which they do carry all kind of different master cylinders for just about every kart out there. So I bought one that was similar to this, and we're going to go ahead and install it. So on this particular model, I believe it's 10 millimeter on 10 millimeter nut, and you got a bolt that runs all the way through. So all I'm going to do is come in. I'm gonna have to get my little socket to hold it, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull the nut and bolt out, and we got two of them. We got one here and one here, and I'll be able to take this up and spin it around. And right here we have the reservoir, which I'm gonna go ahead and take this all out as one unit. Once I get this loose, then I can come in and remove this banjo bolt, and we'll have the whole unit loose, and I'll show you what's going to be the next step after. All right, so we got the master cylinder undone, and you notice there's like an adapter right here, and it kind of goes off to a hose, and that's where the reservoir is. It's basically a remote mount reservoir. Now, when I was looking online, I knew roughly what the part looked like, but I didn't remember the reservoir issue, which, oh, sorry, I don't want to litter my yard, so we're trying to catch all this stuff before it takes flight. We'll shove it in there. And basically what I have is I have the same exact reservoir, everything. Actually, we'll flip it like this. You can see it's the same. Now you notice this one has the reservoir right on top, and that's going to actually interfere with the steering. So what I'm going to do is, if you end up buying one like this, don't fret. There's nothing to worry about. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull these two screws. See, this one has the flat spot, but it's never been drilled and tapped. And all you're going to do is pull this out. This piece will fit right into when you take this reservoir off. There's a hole that fits right in there. You take the banjo bolts loose, transfer your line right to here, and you'll go back to a remote reservoir, so you'll be back up and running pretty quick. And I think this part was like $13. But I would go check out BMI carts, because if you do have an issue, you can always return it, exchange it, etc. Speak with the company for their terms and conditions. But I would definitely recommend getting it from a company that you can directly call and talk to somebody, versus, say, going through eBay. All right, just give me a moment. I need to go find my screwdriver, go ahead and take this off, and take this banjo bolt, and I'll go ahead and swap all that off camera and get it ready for reinstallation. And another happy set of customers. I do need to take that carburetor apart. I'm having an issue from sitting so long. Like, it sat probably more than half the summer. I've been honestly busy at work, haven't had a chance to get to it. But that was just a quick video showing that just some simple little repairs, some parts. We got brand new spindles with the heavy duty ball joints. The brakes, I went ahead and used the one part I got, but it's honestly garbage, and that's why I stated you really want to buy stuff from a reputable company. I'm going to go ahead and contact BMI Karts for a complete brake system on that. I'm going to go ahead and replace the reservoir, the master, the line, and go ahead and replace the caliper at the back. I was having a major issue with that. That kart's nowhere near its full power. I know how fast that little kart runs, but it's good enough for now. The kids are playing on it, they're having fun. I'm Masses32210. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. This is just a quick little video, just putting this thing together for the kids. I have several more videos playing on this kart because they want to paint, they want more graphics and different things. Alright guys, let me get back with you because I need to tell them not to go back down that road. Thank you so much. As always, thumbs up please. Thank you for subscribing and watching.